Here's a dialogue wheel I made. Much like the political landscape in the last handful of decades, you start in the center and move to the edge in order to select the dialogue option that is written there. And here's a version where the options move around. But why? This seems like a pointless and irritating version of a normal dialogue wheel, or a simple list of options. I have a good reason. I swear it upon the many hallowed tombs of Egypt, but first let me tell the tale of how this was made. In order to have a dialogue wheel with options, you first need a dialogue system with lines of text that lead into one another and which we can use to show the result of the decision made in the dialogue wheel, or the Dwheel. Otherwise you select an option and fuck all happens. When it comes to needing tools, such as an entire system with which to store and present dialogue data, there are always two options. Make your own, like a dumbass, or use a tool that someone else made. As it happens, such a tool already exists, the plugin known only as Dialogic. So anyway, a week and a half later, I've made half a dialogue system here. Cliff notes on how it works is, you put down and edit and connect all these nodes, and when each node is saved, its contents are put into a file with its unique ID number as a name. Then when the game is actually run, all these files are loaded again and thrown into a dictionary with the ID numbers as indices. That way, in a choice I can say, this choice goes to that ID number, and that choice goes to this ID number, and it can all easily work flawlessly after 90% of the time was spent deleting the flaws. I used to have it load in the resource itself instead of using a simple ID number for that, but that led to trouble when something ends up leading back to itself, because the thing had to load something that contained itself, that contained the other thing that contained itself, etc. I lost more than a few limbs to the black holes created by these mistakes. Once the barest of skeletons had been erected for the system of dialogue, the time arrived to prepare the wheels of dialogue, the Dwheels. Simplest task you've ever seen. Take the angle, title, and destination of each choice from the save file, and when the Dwheel itself is created, put down a slice and a label at the relevant angle, draw lines halfway in between the angles, and go to the destination in question when the player hits the edge. Cool, done. Next. Except, I want to be able to have situations like this. One thin slice and one thick slice. Under this system, it seems that I'd need to add some kind of width ratio parameter in order to have that. Not an impossible solution, but perhaps this instead. The angle parameter shall refer not to the center of the slice, but the edge. A decision with some upsides and drawbacks. A downside is that figuring out where the labels are meant to be is a little harder. Instead of putting the label directly at angle degrees, it has to be between this angle and the next. Trivially calculated, with this angle plus next angle over 2. Except the last one, where you have to add 180 degrees to the result. An advantage, however, is that when the options are moving and cross over one another, it looks very smooth and nice, although it did take a fair amount of tweaking in order to make it so. Swapping the options whenever two of them cross over, making a second copy of all the options and sorting them occasionally in order of angle, and the less said about those dire, evil and accursed things that happen when one of the options crosses over 0 degrees, the better. Plus, I want the Dwheel to output a number when it's completed, representing the position in the original list of the option that got picked. That way a Dwheel can be used for more than just this specific dialogue system. But in order to do that, I need to take the option from the sorted list and find its position in the original. Hey, didn't you say you were going to explain why you made this stupid wheel? Oh yeah, I want to fill it with bullets. Alright, I'm gonna go do that now. Bye. Whee!